Hello and welcome to Talk the Walk. I'm Azam Khan. Recently, there's been discourse around how Hong Kong needs to plug the brain drain by obtaining foreign talent if it wants to compete in the tech race or fill necessary voids in specialized fields. Chief Executive John Lee announced bold initiatives in his recent maiden policy address to get the ball rolling, including setting up a special office dedicated to trawl for talent. But in the haste for the talent chase, are other things being overlooked, such as leveraging local talent, improving specialized education, and fostering a more inclusive environment for our minority communities to equip them to fill some of the crucial voids? Joining me first to unpack the topic is Chairperson of the Equal Opportunities Commission, Ricky Chu. Mr. Chu, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me.
Hong Kong is a city that proudly has different minority communities with historical links and who in many ways are the backbone of the economy. So yet there exists societal microaggression and some racism. So how can these be overcome in the form of policies?
Yeah, Hong Kong is a bit unique in this way, in that we have over 92% of population are Chinese speaking, and yet we have about 8% of ethnic minority community. But the unique thing is, amongst this 8% population, they came from all over the world. All the major continents, Asia, North America, South America, Africa, Europe, etc. Every people from all parts of the world come to Hong Kong to live, to work, etc. So on the one hand, the society is relatively homogeneous. Most of us are Chinese speaking. On the other hand, we are also very heterogeneous in that we have over several tens of different people coming from different nations. So it would be imperative for Hong Kong to fully realize the potential of our ethnic minority community. And I'm also pleased to know that from our CE's policy address, that Hong Kong is committed to become an inclusive city so that we can attract talents from all parts of the world. But as a policy implementation, I would say the key is to make the ethnic minorities' image more visible in Hong Kong. This is bound to be our skeleton in implementing our policy of attracting talents. Because as you have rightly asked the question, that Hong Kong, because of its relatively homogeneous composition of population, there is a deep-seated mindset that people may see non-Chinese speaking community as some kind of an alien population, hence this microaggression. I must say that Hong Kong, we have not seen any hate crime or serious discrimination like what we see in other places of the world. But microaggressions in our daily lives are not uncommon. I think the most effective way is for all sectors, government, private sector, business sector, education sector, sports sector, etc., to adopt the strategy of making our ethnic minority community more visible. For example, in our big companies' advertisement campaign, maybe we use models from the ethnic minority. Maybe the government should fund more activities whereby our ethnic minority talents can stay in the same stage, making art performance or joining hands in participating various kinds of activities, so that people, the citizens, can know more about our non-Chinese speaking community members. With more understanding, hopefully, we can minimize the effect of discrimination and microaggression.
Right. Do you think they'll be able to, the ethnic minorities can fill some of the voids which people have been talking about that it's lacking in the labor market, whether it's in construction or other sectors? Could they help fill this void through policies and through a focus from the government?
I think the policy is in the right direction. But then how to implement the policy effectively is the key. you got a good policy, but you need a better and more effective implementation. And the principle, and the first principle, I reckon, is try every effort to make our ethnic minority population more visible to the world, to all the Hong Kong citizens, so they can understand, say, for example, what are the special features of a certain ethnic minority community? What are their festivals at home? Can these festivals be represented or be showcased in Hong Kong so that people can know more?
Be celebrated.
Yeah, celebrating the special features by, say, having a good liaison network with all ethnic minority representative in Hong Kong to know better what they want, what they favor, what their cultures are, because Hong Kong people, I think, is still not very good in knowing our non-Chinese speaking communities.
Right. And language is one of the obvious barriers, not just with the ethnic minority communities, but just non-Chinese groups generally, a lot of foreign non-Chinese groups. So how can this be tackled in concrete ways?
Yeah, I think this would have, education would have a heavy role to play. In fact, in the past few years, the Equal Opportunities Commission has conducted a series of surveys on language education. Our objective is to urge the government to establish a comprehensive teaching program for our ethnic minority students. Many of them are locally born, and many of them can actually speak pretty good Cantonese, the dialect in Hong Kong, when they are small. But as they move up the school ladder, because of all sorts of academic competitive reasons, gradually their standard of Chinese deteriorate. So at the moment, the language barrier faced by our locally born ethnic minority students are quite serious. And this language barrier has forbid them to fully realize their potential in joining our labor market. So building up a comprehensive teaching program for Chinese language as a second language is the key factor that we need to implement. Only when we are successful in doing so, then our younger generation of ethnic minority community can find that they are actually an integral part of our community and their potential can be fully realized, particularly in the labor market. And then we can retain and develop our own talent. And also, if we develop our own talent well back in Hong Kong, then the foreign talents from overseas would look at our achievement as a good reference. If I were somebody who is overseas and I want to work in Hong Kong, obviously I would first look at how my counterpart in Hong Kong are treated. If they are treated well, then I would likely to fit in Hong Kong much easier. And then it would add a great attraction for a foreign talent to join Hong Kong as part of its labor force and contribute to Hong Kong's development.
So Hong Kong is trying to revive its creative hub as well. And obviously there's a lot of diversity in the creative field. For example, a lot of Southeast Asians in the music scene. So how can they be empowered to help thrive in the art field, and in turn they can help the local art scene grow?
That wouldn't be too difficult, actually, as a starting point. I think, for example, the government can take the lead, or that the major consortium, international consortium in Hong Kong, the business sector in Hong Kong, every now and then they would host, say, functions or activities like variety shows or singing contests or various kinds of carnivals. And if they can have the mind of putting in multicultural shows, be it a singing contest or a movie festival, can they introduce more talent For example, singing songs from other Asian countries, singing songs even from Africa, South America, those less well-known places in Hong Kong for their art achievement. So the principle is the same, is to let Hong Kong people understand more about the art of other places of the whole world, so they can understand the culture and the practice of the non-Chinese speaking community. And this would make people feel more comfortable by working and living in Hong Kong.
Right. So in your opinion, is there a sweet spot between the city's push and drive to get foreign talent, specifically in the high-skilled and high-valued industries, but also keeping in mind the local talent and nurturing its local talent, particularly with its diversity?
Yes or no? Because I think we shouldn't make it a zero-sum game in that the foreign talents and the local ethnic minority talents, they are not competing with each other. As people say, the cake in Hong Kong are very big. We should aim at promoting the equal opportunities to attract both foreign talents and retain local EM talents in the same time. So only when we can achieve this by providing a friendly and comfortable living environment, both in terms of working environment, in terms of the youngsters' education, in terms of leasing of premises and provision of goods and services, etc., then the sweet spot would be identified, would be seen.
Mr. Chu, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. Don't go anywhere after the break. I'll be joined by expert Dr. Yvette To. Stay tuned.